The old bus wheezed and rattled as it pulled into the dusty town of Cedar Ridge, Montana. Through the dirty window, Anna could see nothing but empty streets and weathered buildings that looked like they hadn't seen fresh paint in decades. She pressed her face against the glass, hoping to catch a glimpse of something that might give her hope. Instead, all she saw was a dying town that matched exactly how she felt inside. The bus driver, a heavy-set man with kind eyes, turned around in his seat. "End of the line, miss. You sure this is where you wanted to go?" Anna nodded, even though she wasn't sure of anything anymore. She grabbed her single black suitcase from the overhead rack. Everything she owned in the world fit into that one bag. 6 months ago, she would have laughed if someone told her that her life would shrink down to so little dot as her feet touched the cracked pavement. The Montana sun beat down mercilessly. The heat was different here than back in Denver. It felt heavier, more intense, like it was trying to burn away all the pain she'd been carrying. Anna pulled the wrinkled letter from her back pocket and read it for the 100th time. Her great-aunt Rose had written it just 2 months before she passed away. "Dear Anna," the letter began in shaky handwriting. "I know we never met, but your grandmother talked about you all the time. She said you had a good heart and strong hands. I'm leaving you my little ranch outside Cedar Ridge. It's not much, but it's yours if you want it. Sometimes a fresh start is exactly what a person needs." A fresh start? Anna almost laughed, but it came out more like a sob. 3 months ago, her life had been completely different. She'd had a good job at a marketing company, a nice apartment in the city, and Tom, her boyfriend of 2 years, who'd promised they'd get married soon. Then everything fell apart like a house of cards in a windstorm. First, the company downsized and let her go. Then she couldn't make rent without her job. Tom, who she thought loved her, suddenly decided he needed space when the money got tight. Within weeks, she was sleeping on her friend's couch with nowhere to go and no idea what to do next. That's when the lawyer's letter arrived about her great-aunt's ranch. Anna looked around the empty bus station. There was supposed to be someone here to pick her up, but she didn't see anyone. The lawyer had said he'd arrange a ride to the property. After waiting 20 minutes in the blazing sun, an old pickup truck pulled up. The driver was a woman in her 60s with sun-weathered skin and a wide smile. "You must be Anna," the woman called out. "I'm Betty from the general store. Sorry I'm late. Had to help my neighbor catch his escaped chickens." Betty laughed like this was the most normal thing in the world. "Hop in, honey. Let's get you to Rose's place." As they drove through the dusty streets, Betty chatted about the town. "We're not a big place, but we look out for each other here. Your Aunt Rose was well loved. She helped anyone who needed it, whether it was watching kids, bringing soup when someone was sick, or taking care of injured animals. Folks around here still miss her." Anna felt a knot in her stomach. She'd never even met this aunt who everyone seemed to love. What if she couldn't live up to that? What if she was just another city person who couldn't handle country life? After driving for about 15 minutes on increasingly rough roads, Betty turned down a dirt path that was more holes than road. "Here we are," she announced cheerfully. Anna's heart sank as she saw what awaited her. The ranch was nothing like she'd imagined. There was a small wooden house that looked like it might blow over in a strong wind. The paint was peeling, the front steps sagged, and one of the shutters hung at an odd angle. Behind the house stood a barn that wasn't in much better shape. The whole property couldn't have been more than a few acres, and most of it looked dry and barren. "It needs some work," Betty said gently, seeing Anna's expression. But Rose always said this place had good bones. She believed it just needed someone who could see its potential. Betty helped Anna carry her suitcase to the front door and handed her an old key. "I stocked the kitchen with some basics. If you need anything at all, the store is always open." After Betty left, Anna stood alone in front of her new home. The silence was overwhelming. In the city, there was always noise, traffic, sirens, people talking. Here, the only sound was the wind blowing through the dry grass. She unlocked the front door and stepped inside. The house was small but clean. Rose had left it ready for whoever might come after her. There was a tiny kitchen, a living room with an old couch, and 2 bedrooms. Everything was old but well cared for. On the kitchen table, Anna found another letter from her aunt. "Welcome home," it said. "I hope this place brings you peace like it brought me. Check the barn. There's something there that needs you as much as you need it." Curious, Anna walked outside toward the barn. The building looked ready to collapse, but when she pushed open the heavy door, she gasped. In the far corner, lying on a pile of old hay, was the most beautiful horse she'd ever seen. But something was terribly wrong. The young horse was barely more than a colt, with a coat that should have been glossy black and white, but instead looked dull and patchy. Its ribs showed through its skin, and its breathing was shallow and labored. The animal's eyes, though, were what broke Anna's heart. They were large and dark and filled with a sadness that matched her own. Anna had never been around horses before, but she knew this one was dying. She knelt down beside it, not knowing what to do. The colt tried to lift its head when it sensed her presence, but the effort seemed to exhaust it. Anna gently placed her hand on its neck and felt how thin and weak it was. "What happened to you?" she whispered. The horse seemed to respond to her voice, its ears twitching slightly. Anna noticed an old feed bucket nearby, but it was empty and covered in dust. Water buckets were bone dry. This poor animal had been abandoned and was slowly starving. Panic set in. She had no idea how to help a horse, no money for a veterinarian, and no one to call. But looking into those sad, trusting eyes, she knew she couldn't just let it die. She ran back to the house and found Betty's phone number on a note by the telephone. "Betty, it's Anna. There's a horse in the barn, and it's really sick. I don't know what to do." "Oh, honey, that's Buttercup. Rose rescued her a few months before she passed. Poor thing's been alone since then. Dr. Patterson is our local vet. Let me call him for you." Within an hour, Dr. Patterson arrived in his truck. He was a tall, thin man with gentle hands and a serious expression. After examining the colt, he shook his head sadly. "She's severely malnourished and dehydrated. It's going to take round-the-clock care, special food, medicine, and even then, I can't promise anything. This kind of treatment, well, it's expensive." Anna's heart sank. She had barely enough money to feed herself, let alone pay for expensive veterinary care. But as she looked at the dying colt, something stirred inside her that she hadn't felt in months. For the first time since her life fell apart, something needed her. Not her money, not her success, just her. "What do I need to do?" she asked quietly. "Doctor?" Patterson looked surprised. "Are you sure? This is going to be a lot of work, and there's no guarantee." Anna knelt down beside the colt again and gently stroked its neck. "I'm sure." As the sun began to set over Cedar Ridge, Anna found herself sitting in a dusty barn next to a dying horse, wondering how her life had led her to this moment. But for the first time in months, she felt like she was exactly where she needed to be. Anna spent her first night in the barn, sleeping on an old blanket next to Buttercup. Every few hours, she woke up to check if the little horse was still breathing. Each time she heard that soft, shallow breath, she felt a mix of relief and worry. Dr. Patterson had left her with medicine to give every 4 hours and special feed that cost more than she wanted to think about. At 5 in the morning. She was mixing the medicine into warm water when she heard footsteps outside the barn. Her heart jumped. Who would be here this early? She grabbed an old pitchfork, even though she had no idea how to use it, and crept toward the door. A man stood silhouetted against the early morning light. He was tall and lean, wearing worn jeans and a cowboy hat that had seen better days. When he saw her holding the pitchfork, he slowly raised his hands and took a step back. "Sorry, ma'am, didn't mean to startle you. I'm Cole Watson. Used to help your Aunt Rose with the animals." His voice was quiet and calm, like he was trying not to spook a wild horse. "Betty mentioned you might need some help with the colt." Anna studied his face in the dim light. He had kind eyes and a gentle way of standing that made her feel less afraid. But after everything that had happened with Tom, she wasn't quick to trust anyone, especially men who showed up unannounced. "I can handle it myself," she said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. Cole nodded and touched the brim of his hat. "Yes, ma'am, I'm sure you can. Just thought I'd offer." He started to turn away, then paused. Your Aunt Rose, she saved that little filly about 3 months ago. Found her abandoned on the highway, half dead from neglect. Rose always said Buttercup was a fighter. Something in his voice made Anna lower the pitchfork. You knew my aunt well? Worked for her on and off for about 2 years. She was good people. Always helping someone or something that needed it. Cole's eyes moved to the barn behind Anna. How's the little one doing? Anna's shoulders sagged. Not good. Dr. Patterson says she needs round-the-clock care, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I've never been around horses before. Cole was quiet for a moment, then he asked, Mind if I take a look? Just to see how she's doing, Anna hesitated. She didn't know this man, but something about him reminded her of her grandfather, quiet, steady, and genuinely concerned about the horse. Finally, she stepped aside and led him into the barn. Cole approached Buttercup slowly, talking to her in a soft voice. Hey there, pretty girl, remember me? The colt's ears perked up slightly. At his voice, he knelt down beside her and gently examined her without touching, just observing. She looks a little better than yesterday. You've been giving her the medicine Dr. Patterson left? Every 4 hours, just like he said. Anna watched as Cole carefully stroked the horse's neck. Buttercup seemed to relax under his touch. She won't eat much, though. That's normal when they're this sick. The important thing is to keep trying. Cole stood up and looked around the barn. Your aunt had a system for mixing the feed. Mind if I show you? For the next hour, Cole taught Anna how to properly mix the special feed, how to check Buttercup's temperature, and how to tell if she was getting better or worse. He worked quietly, explaining things in simple terms without making Anna feel stupid for not knowing. The key is consistency, he said as they prepared another dose of medicine. Horses feel safe when they know what to expect. Same time, same routine, same gentle voice. Anna watched him work. His hands were rough and weathered, but incredibly gentle with the sick animal. Why are you helping me? You don't even know me. Cole was quiet for so long that Anna thought he wasn't going to answer. Finally, he said, Your aunt helped me out when I was going through a rough patch. Lost my job at the big ranch down the road, had nowhere to go. She let me stay in the old bunkhouse and work for meals until I got back on my feet. Figure I owe her. What happened at your old job? Cole's face darkened a little. Used to compete in rodeo. Bull riding, mostly. Had a bad fall about 3 years ago. Messed up my back pretty good. Couldn't compete anymore, and the ranch owner decided he didn't need a broken-down cowboy hanging around. Anna felt a pang of recognition. She knew what it was like to have your whole life change in an instant. I'm sorry. Things happen. Cole shrugged, but Anna could see the pain behind his casual words. Point is, your aunt didn't judge. Just offered help when I needed it. Least I can do is return the favor. As the days passed, Cole became a regular presence at the little ranch. He showed up every morning before sunrise and stayed until evening. Working quietly alongside Anna, he taught her how to read Buttercup's body language, how to clean her stall properly, and how to spot signs of improvement. Look there, he said one morning, pointing to the colt. See how her ears are forward, and her eyes are brighter? She's starting to take interest in things again. Anna felt a flutter of hope. Really? She's getting better? Slowly, but yes. You've been doing good work. The compliment warmed Anna more than she expected. It had been a long time since anyone had told her she was doing something right. With Tom, she'd always felt like she was failing at something. Not pretty enough, not successful enough, not interesting enough. As Buttercup grew stronger, Anna began to notice other things about Cole. He never asked for payment, but he fixed the broken fence behind the barn without being asked. When Anna mentioned that the kitchen faucet leaked, he quietly repaired it the next day. He brought fresh vegetables from his small garden and left them on the porch without making a big deal about it. You don't have to do all this, Anna told him one evening as they watched Buttercup actually stand up and walk a few steps. I know, Cole replied simply. Anna was learning that Cole wasn't much of a talker, but his actions spoke volumes. Unlike Tom, who had made grand promises he never kept, Cole simply did what needed doing without expecting praise or recognition. One night, when Buttercup was having a particularly bad spell, Anna found herself crying quietly in the barn. The stress of everything, losing her old life, worrying about money, trying to save a dying horse, finally overwhelmed her. Cole found her there, tears streaming down her face. Without saying a word, he sat down on a hay bale nearby and waited. Not trying to fix anything, not telling her everything would be okay, just being present. "I don't know what I'm doing," Anna whispered. "What if I can't save her? What if I'm just not strong enough for any of this?" Cole was quiet for a long moment. "Your Aunt Rose used to say that strength isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up every time you do." He looked at Buttercup, who was resting but breathing steadily. "You've gotten up every 4 hours for 2 weeks to give that horse medicine. You've learned things you never thought you could learn. That's strength." Anna looked at him in the dim light of the barn. "How do you always know the right thing to say?" Cole smiled slightly. "I don't. Most of the time I don't say anything at all." As the weeks passed, Anna began to look forward to Cole's quiet presence each morning. She started having coffee ready when he arrived, and they would sit on the porch for a few minutes before starting work. Watching the sun come up over the Montana landscape, Buttercup continued to improve, and Anna realized that somewhere along the way she had started healing too. 2 months after Anna's arrival in Cedar Ridge, Buttercup took her first real steps around the barn. Anna watched with tears in her eyes as the young horse walked steadily, her coat now glossy and her eyes bright with life. Cole stood beside her, a rare smile crossing his weathered face. "She's going to make it," Anna whispered, hardly believing it was true. "Never had much doubt," Cole replied quietly. "You both are fighters." That afternoon, Dr. Patterson came by for his weekly check. He couldn't hide his amazement as he watched Buttercup trot around the small paddock that Cole had repaired. "I've got to admit, I didn't think we'd see this day. You two have done something special here." Word about Buttercup's recovery spread quickly through the small town. By the end of the week, Anna received her first unexpected visitor, Mrs. Henderson. An elderly woman from town knocked on her door with tears in her eyes. "My old horse, Thunder, got tangled in some wire fence," she explained. "The vet says he'll live, but he's hurt bad and won't trust anybody to get near him. Heard you have a way with horses that need healing." Anna felt panic rise in her chest. "I don't know anything special. I just took care of Buttercup." Cole, who had been fixing the barn door, walked over. "Sometimes that's all it takes. Patience. And caring." Against her better judgment, Anna agreed to look at Thunder. The old horse was indeed a mess, cuts on his legs from the wire and a wild, frightened look in his eyes. But as Anna approached him slowly, speaking in the same soft voice she'd used with Buttercup, something magical happened. Thunder's ears perked forward, and he allowed her to come close. "Well, I'll be," Mrs. Henderson breathed. "He hasn't let anyone near him in 3 days." Working with Thunder was different from caring for Buttercup. The old horse wasn't sick. He was scared and hurt. Cole taught Anna how to clean wounds properly and how to wrap bandages. More importantly, he showed her how to read what the horse was feeling. "See how he's holding his head? He's listening to you. And look at his eyes. They're soft now, not hard with fear. You've got a gift for this, Anna." Anna didn't feel like she had a gift. She just remembered how it felt to be scared and alone, and she tried to make the horses feel safe. But as Thunder began to heal and trust again, she started to believe that maybe she could do this. Soon, word spread even further. A rancher brought in a mare who'd lost her foal and wouldn't eat. A teenager showed up with a horse that had been abused by its previous owner. Each time, Anna felt overwhelmed, but Cole was always there, quietly guiding her and believing in her when she couldn't believe in herself. "I never thought I'd be doing this," Anna told Cole one evening as they watched 3 horses grazing peacefully in the small pasture. They'd added temporary fencing to give the animals more room. "Life has a funny way of leading us where we need to be," Cole replied. He was leaning against the fence post, and Anna noticed how the setting sun made his brown hair look golden. "I used to think my life was over when I couldn't ride bulls anymore. Felt like I'd lost everything that mattered. What changed your mind? Cole was quiet for a long moment. Meeting your Aunt Rose, she told me that sometimes when one door closes, it's because there's a better one waiting to open. Just have to be brave enough to walk through it. Anna felt her heart skip. Cole rarely talked about his feelings, and when he did, it always meant something important. What's your better door? He looked at her then, and Anna saw something in his eyes that made her breath catch. I think I'm looking at it. The moment hung between them, full of possibility and fear. Anna wanted to step closer, to tell him that she felt the same way, but old fears held her back. What if he left like Tom had? What if she wasn't enough? Before either of them could say more, they heard a truck pulling up the drive. Dr. Patterson climbed out, followed by a woman Anna didn't recognize. Anna, I hope you don't mind the surprise visit. This is Mrs. Parker. She runs the county animal rescue organization. Mrs. Parker was a businesslike woman in her 50s with kind but tired eyes. I've been hearing remarkable things about what you're doing here. We're overwhelmed at the county facility, and we desperately need someone who can handle the difficult cases, the animals that need special care and attention. Anna felt excited and terrified at the same time. I'm not trained for this. Just doing my best. Sometimes that's better than training, Mrs. Parker replied. Would you be willing to take on some animals from us? We can provide food, medical supplies, and a small payment for each animal you help. Anna looked at Cole, who nodded encouragingly. We could use the barn space more efficiently, he said. Maybe build some proper stalls. That night Anna lay awake thinking about the offer. 6 months ago, she'd been living in the city, working in marketing, planning a future with Tom. Now she was considering becoming a horse rehabilitator in the middle of Montana. It seemed impossible. But then she thought about Buttercup's gentle nicker when she brought the morning feed, about Thunder's trusting eyes, about the way Cole's quiet presence made everything seem possible. The next morning, she called Mrs. Parker and accepted Dot. Within 2 weeks. They had 5 horses on the property. Cole worked tirelessly to improve the facilities, building proper stalls and a larger paddock. Anna threw herself into learning everything she could about horse behavior and care. She ordered books, watched videos online, and picked Dr. Patterson's brain every chance she got, but the real education came from the horses themselves. Each one taught her something different. A nervous thoroughbred named Whisper showed her the importance of routine and calm energy. A stubborn pony called Bandit taught her that sometimes love meant setting boundaries. An old ranch horse named Dusty demonstrated that even the most broken spirits could heal with patience and time. Cole was her constant partner in all of it. He seemed to understand the horses almost as well as she did, and he understood her even better. When she got frustrated, he reminded her to breathe. When she doubted herself, he quietly pointed out her successes. When she worked too hard and forgot to eat, he made sure there was always a sandwich waiting for her. You know what I love about this work? Anna told him one afternoon as they watched Whisper finally allow a young girl to brush her mane. The girl's family had been patient for weeks, visiting every day until Whisper learned to trust again. What's that? It's about healing, not just the horses, but the people too. That little girl is going to remember this moment for the rest of her life. She's learning that trust can be rebuilt, that broken things can become beautiful again. Cole smiled at her, and Anna realized she wasn't just talking about the horses and their owners. She was talking about herself, about how this place and this work and this quiet man had helped her heal from the wounds Tom had left behind. As autumn approached, the little ranch had transformed into something neither Anna nor Cole had imagined. They had 10 horses in various stages of recovery, a waiting list of animals that needed help, and a steady stream of families coming to visit their healing animals. Anna had found her calling, and somewhere along the way, she'd found something else too, a love that was built on shared purpose, quiet moments, and the kind of trust that grew slowly and ran deep. She just wasn't sure if Cole felt the same way. Anna was feeding the horses on a cold October morning when she saw the official-looking car pull up her driveway. Her stomach dropped. In her experience, nothing good ever came from men in suits showing up unannounced. The man who stepped out wore an expensive coat and carried a briefcase that probably cost more than Anna made in a month. "Are you Anna Mitchell?" he asked, consulting a paper in his hand. "Yes," Anna replied carefully, wiping her hands on her jeans. Cole appeared from the barn, sensing trouble. "I'm David Morrison from Morrison and Associates. I represent the county tax office." The man's voice was businesslike and cold. "I'm here about the outstanding property taxes on this land." Anna felt like someone had punched her in the stomach. "Property taxes? What property taxes?" Mr. Morrison opened his briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. "Your great-aunt Rose fell behind on payments 3 years ago. The total amount owed, including penalties and interest, is $43,000. The county has been patient, but we can no longer delay collection." The world seemed to spin around Anna. $43,000 might as well have been $1 million, but she left me this place. Nobody told me about any taxes. The property transfer doesn't eliminate existing debt, miss. You have 30 days to pay the full amount, or the county will be forced to auction the property to recover the debt. After the man left, Anna sat on her front steps, staring at the papers he'd given her. Cole sat down beside her, his face grim. 30 days, Anna whispered. "Cole, I don't have $43,000. I don't even have $4,000. Cole was quiet for a long time, thinking. Finally, he said, "I've got some money saved up from my rodeo days before the accident. It's not the full amount, but it's something." Anna looked at him with tears in her eyes. "I can't take your money, Cole. That's probably everything you have." "It's just sitting in the bank doing nothing," Cole said quietly. "At least this way it would help something good." "No." Anna stood up abruptly. "I won't let you sacrifice everything for my problems. You've already done too much." That night Anna couldn't sleep. She walked out to the barn where Buttercup and the other horses were resting peacefully. In just a few months, this place had become more than a home. It was a sanctuary for broken animals and the people who loved them. The thought of losing it all made her feel sick, but there was something else bothering her, something deeper than just losing the ranch. She was starting to depend on Cole, to care about him in a way that scared her. What if she let him give up his savings and then something happened? What if he realized she wasn't worth it and left like Tom had? At least if she kept her distance now, she could protect both of them from getting hurt. Over the next few days, Anna became distant and cold toward Cole. When he tried to help with the horses, she told him she could handle it alone. When he brought vegetables from his garden, she barely thanked him. When he suggested ways they might raise money to save the ranch, she changed the subject. Cole tried to be patient, but Anna could see the hurt in his eyes. Finally, one evening as he was getting ready to leave, he stopped and turned to face her. "What did I do wrong?" he asked quietly. "Nothing," Anna replied, not meeting his eyes. "You didn't do anything wrong." "Then why are you pushing me away?" Anna felt tears burning behind her eyes, but she forced herself to stay strong. "Because this isn't going to work, Cole. We both know it. I'm going to lose this place, and then what? I'll have to leave, start over somewhere else. It's better if we just keep things simple." Cole stood there for a long moment, his hat in his hands. "Is that really what you want?" No, Anna wanted to scream. What she wanted was to throw her arms around him and tell him she was falling in love with him. What she wanted was to believe that somehow they could figure this out together. But she'd learned the hard way that wanting something didn't make it possible. "Yes," she lied. "It's what I want." Cole nodded slowly and put his hat back on. "Oh, right then. I'll still come by to help with the horses until you figure out what you're doing next. They need consistency, even if we don't." After he left, Anna collapsed on her couch and cried harder than she had since the day Tom walked out. But this felt worse, because this time she was the one doing the leaving. The next few days passed in a blur of desperate phone calls and internet searches. Anna tried everything she could think of to raise money. She contacted banks about loans, but without steady income or good credit, nobody was interested. She looked into selling some of the horses, but most of them weren't hers to sell, and the ones that were wouldn't bring nearly enough money. Mrs. Parker from the county rescue came by to check on the animals and noticed the tension immediately. "What's going on here?" she asked Anna. "Cole looks like someone stole his favorite horse, and you look like you haven't slept in days." Anna broke down and told her about the tax bill. Mrs. Parker listened quietly, then shook her head. "Anna, honey, you're making this harder than it needs to be. Have you thought about asking the community for help? This town loves what you're doing here. And Cole Watson is one of the most respected men in the county. If he's willing to help, that says something." "I can't ask people for money," Anna protested. "You're not asking for money for yourself. You're asking for help to save something that helps others. There's a difference." That evening, Cole showed up as usual to help with the horses. They worked in awkward silence until Anna couldn't stand it anymore. "Mrs. Parker thinks I should ask the community for help," she said quietly. Cole nodded but didn't look at her. "She's probably right. People around here don't forget kindness. Would you help me organize something? I don't know how to do any of this." For the first time in days, Cole looked directly at her. "Is that what you want? Really want?" "Because I won't go through this again, Anna. If you're just going to push me away when things get hard, tell me now." Anna felt her walls crumbling. "I'm scared, Cole. I'm scared of losing this place, and I'm scared of losing you. I'm scared of depending on someone and having them leave when things get tough." Cole set down the feed bucket he'd been holding and walked over to her. "Anna, I've been here every day for months. I've watched you save dying horses and build something beautiful from nothing. What's it going to take for you to trust that I'm not going anywhere?" Anna looked into his steady brown eyes and saw nothing but truth. "I don't know how to do this. The whole relationship thing. Tom made me feel like I was never enough." "Tom was an idiot," Cole said firmly, "and you are more than enough. You're everything." The words hung in the air between them, full of promise and possibility. Anna felt something shift inside her chest, like a locked door finally opening. "Help me save this place?" she asked softly. Cole smiled, the first real smile she'd seen from him in days. "Try and stop me." As they stood there in the barn surrounded by the horses they'd saved together, Anna realized that sometimes the biggest risk wasn't trusting someone, it was not trusting them. The next morning, Anna woke up feeling different. For the first time in weeks, she wasn't carrying the weight of everything alone. Cole had stayed late the night before, and together they'd made a plan. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. "First thing we need to do is talk to Betty," Cole had said. "She knows everyone in town, and if anyone can help us organize something, it's her." Betty's reaction was exactly what they'd hoped for. Her eyes lit up when Anna explained the situation, and she immediately started making a list of people to contact. "Honey, you've helped half this town with their animals. Mrs. Henderson's Thunder is like a new horse thanks to you. The Johnson family's Mary would have died without your care. People don't forget that kind of kindness." Within hours, Betty had organized what she called a community meeting at the church hall. Anna was nervous about facing so many people, but Cole squeezed her hand as they walked in together. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together," he whispered. The hall was packed. Anna recognized many faces, people whose horses she'd helped, neighbors she'd met in town, even Dr. Patterson and Mrs. Parker. Her heart swelled when she saw Mrs. Henderson sitting in the front row with her granddaughter, the same little girl who'd learned to trust Whisper. Betty stood up to address the crowd. "Most of you know why we're here. Anna and Cole have created something special on Rose's old place. They've saved animals that nobody else could help, and they've brought healing to our community. Now they need our help." Anna felt her cheeks burn as Betty explained about the tax debt. She wanted to hide, but Cole's steady presence beside her kept her grounded. Then something unexpected happened. Mrs. Henderson stood up. "I'd like to say something," the elderly woman announced. 6 months ago, my Thunder was so hurt and scared that I thought I'd have to put him down. This young woman didn't just save my horse, she saved me from losing my best friend. I've got some money saved up, and I'd like to contribute." One by one, people began standing up to share their stories. The teenager whose abused horse had learned to trust again. The rancher whose prize mare Anna had helped through a difficult pregnancy. Families whose children had fallen in love with the gentle horses at Anna's ranch. But it was Cole who surprised Anna the most. He stood up slowly, his hat in his hands. "I'm not much for public speaking," he began, his voice quiet but clear. "But I want you all to know something. Anna didn't just save those horses. She saved me too," his voice caught slightly. "I came to this town broken, thinking my life was over. Rose gave me work and hope, but Anna gave me something to believe in again. She gave me love." Anna felt tears streaming down her face as Cole turned to look at her. "Anna Mitchell, I love you. I love your gentle heart, your stubborn determination, and the way you see possibilities where other people see problems. I wanted to spend the rest of my life helping you save broken things and making them whole again." The entire hall erupted in applause, but Anna could only see Cole's face. Without thinking, she stood up and threw her arms around him. "I love you too," she whispered against his ear. "I'm sorry I was so scared." "Nothing to be sorry for," Cole murmured back. "We all get scared sometimes." When the meeting was over, Anna and Cole were overwhelmed. The community had pledged enough money to cover most of the tax debt. Dr. Patterson offered to donate his veterinary services for free for the next year. The local hardware store promised materials for improving the facilities. Even the teenagers in town had organized a car wash to raise additional funds, but the biggest surprise came 3 days later when a sleek black truck pulled up the driveway. A well-dressed man in his 60s stepped out, followed by a woman Anna recognized as Mrs. Johnson, whose mare she'd helped earlier that year. "Miss Mitchell? I'm Robert Crawford. Mrs. Johnson has told me quite a lot about what you're doing here." Anna shook his hand, confused. Cole appeared from the barn, wiping his hands on a rag. "Mr. Crawford owns the largest ranch in the county," Mrs. Johnson explained. "He breeds championship horses." Mr. Crawford nodded. "I've been looking for someone to partner with on a special project. I have several horses that need rehabilitation, some rescue cases, others that have behavioral issues that traditional trainers can't handle. Mrs. Johnson convinced me that you might be exactly what I'm looking for." Anna felt her heart racing. "I'm not sure I understand." "I'd like to offer you a business partnership," Mr. Crawford explained. "I'll provide funding to expand your facilities and cover your operating expenses. In return, you'll handle the rehabilitation of my difficult cases, and we'll split any profits from the training and boarding fees." Anna looked at Cole, who was grinning widely. "It would be enough to pay off the taxes and give you a steady income," he said quietly. "There's one condition," Mr. Crawford added. "I want Cole to be part of the partnership. Mrs. Johnson tells me he's as good with horses as you are, and I need a team I can trust." That evening, Anna and Cole sat on the porch watching the sunset paint the Montana sky in brilliant oranges and purples. Buttercup grazed peacefully in the pasture with the other horses, all of them healthy and content. "I can't believe this is real," Anna said, leaning against Cole's shoulder. 6 months ago, I had nothing. Now I have everything I never knew I wanted." "Sometimes life has a way of bringing us exactly where we need to be," Cole replied, echoing the words Rose used to say. "Cole?" Anna looked up at him. "What you said at the meeting about wanting to spend your life with me, did you mean it?" Cole stood up and pulled something small from his pocket. It was a simple silver ring with a small turquoise stone. "This was my grandmother's," he said quietly, dropping to one knee. "It's not fancy, but it's real, like what I feel for you." His voice was steady, but Anna could see his hands shaking slightly. "Anna Mitchell, will you marry me?" Anna felt like her heart might burst from happiness. "Yes," she whispered, then louder, "yes." As Cole slipped the ring onto her finger, Buttercup whinnied from the pasture as if she approved. Anna laughed through her tears, thinking about how far they'd all come. 3 months later, Anna and Cole were married in the barn where they'd first worked together to save Buttercup's life. The little horse wore flowers in her mane and served as an unofficial witness to the ceremony. The whole town came to celebrate, and even Mr. Crawford attended, bringing a beautiful set of professional horse training equipment as a wedding gift. As Anna and Cole danced to music played by the local high school band, she thought about Aunt Rose's letter. Her aunt had been right. Sometimes a fresh start was exactly what a person needed. But Anna had discovered something even better than a fresh start. She'd found her home, her purpose, and her love, all in the quiet cowboy who'd shown her that. The best things in life weren't about having everything, they were about sharing whatever you had with someone who truly understood your heart. The ranch continued to thrive, saving broken horses and healing wounded souls. And every morning when Anna woke up next to Cole, she whispered a thank you to the aunt she'd never met, but who'd given her everything she'd ever need to be truly happy.